Hey YouTube, RV tips for people with physical limitations. Sorry it's been a long time since my last episode. I had a little neurosurgery and it knocked me down a little bit harder than I thought it would. But I'm recovering. But as you can see, I'm still a little bit laid up here. But I've been itching to do an RV project. And it occurred to me, well, maybe I could find something to do being the one-armed bandit here. So I decided to look around the Winnebago and see what I could find. And it only took me about 10 seconds to find a good project to do. It's something that's been bothering me since acquiring this motorhome. The seat cushions in the dinette booth of the Winnebago have these permanent stains on the cushions from, 4 decades of spilled coffee and spilled Pepsi or whatever. And it's left them permanently stained. So no matter how clean they get, they still have these creepy stains on them. And I've been covering them with towels and doing stuff like that so nobody will be able to see them. But a while back I was watching YouTube and there's a channel called Justin Parker, and he's got an old camper a lot like mine, and he just went ahead and reupholstered his by hand and using his sewing machine, and they turned out really, really nice. But I don't have that skill set. But I got to thinking, well heck, I'll just call the local upholsterers. And so I did that, and they quoted me a price of $400. So that wasn't really an option. Since then, I've just continued to cover them with towels and stuff until recently. I saw on another video channel, which I really like, Justin Credible TV, which is a whole other Justin. He has a nice motorhome, and he went ahead and changed the color of his seat cushions inside. Because he said that, the upholstery is not torn or ripped or pulled out of shape. They're just need to have the seat color changed. So he went ahead and used, let me get this back on there, used some of this. And this is fabric spray paint for upholstery. And instead of regular spray paint, which just goes on and forms a film and then hardens into a crust, this stuff soaks into the fibers like ink would, like if you dropped a Sharpie on here or something like that. And it's made for upholstery specifically. And so we're going to go ahead and try some of this out today. I can do it one-handed, just like you might figure. I decided to pick camel brown as my color because A, it's a little bit darker than the cushion that I'm painting, and B, the inside of my motorhome, since it's from the 70s, is brown and gold and green. So I wanted to buy something that would match that. So I decided to go with camel brown. Before you start to do any kind of spray painting or painting project in general, there's a couple of things that you need to do. The first thing is elevate your project off the ground. As you can see, this is actually on some crates, but you can use cinder blocks or sawhorses or anything like that. And this does two things. It keeps the project up out of the dirt, so dirt doesn't get on it. And it also makes it so that you can spray paint or paint with a brush the sides of your project easily. And then the idea is you let it dry, and then you flip it over, and you do the other side. However, my cushions here have a backing of Naugahyde, and that actually helps the seat cushion retain its shape as people slide in and out of the booth. So we actually only need to do the top today, which is kind of handy and a big time saver. So you want to get your project prepared like that. The next thing you need to do, it's just always a good idea when you're doing any kind of construction project, is use old clothes that you don't mind getting ripped or stained. So that's the first thing you might want to do. The next things you want to do are safety related. And there's some really strict safety precautions you need to use when you're spraying any kind of paint, whether it's spray paint from a can or the professional paint guns that you'll see. There's two problems that occur with any kind of sprayed paint. The first one is all paint gives off poisonous fumes. There might be hypoallergenic paints out there. I've never used one. So you got to beware of the poisonous fumes. And the second thing is something called overspray. Anytime you're spraying any paint, tiny particles of aerosolized paint don't quite make it to your project and just kind of float around in the general vicinity. So these are two really serious problems, and this is what you do to mitigate them. The first thing you want to do is get yourself a good pair of gloves, or in my case, I guess, glove. And that's just in case any of the paint itself might run down onto your, or there's a lot more overspray right near the spray nozzle. So this will keep your hand clean. It even actually says on the can to use gloves. So that's the first thing you want to do. The second thing you want to do, again, because of that overspray in the air, you want to use a pair of goggles. That'll keep the paint off your eyeballs, which is good, because, you know, like I always say, safety first. That's the most important thing. So use a pair of goggles, and it'll keep the paint off of your eyeballs. The last thing I really like to use is this. And this is like you'd consider a gas mask, or if you're a professional painter, you would use, or you would call it a breather. But anyway, you want to put this on. That way you don't breathe in any of the poisonous fumes. It'll filter those out. And it'll also filter out the overspray, so you don't suck it down into your lungs and into your nose, which again is bad. It's poisonous. So this will filter all that stuff out. So these are the safety equipment that you want to use for a project like this, or any spray paint project. Now I know what you're thinking, everybody. Well, Jason, since you only have one good hand working, how are you going to put this mask on, or the glove, or any of this stuff? And that's kind of one of the more important things I wanted to talk about in this video. And it's something that I've struggled with throughout being a little bit physically limited, or really physically limited sometimes. And that's asking for help. I have a lot of trouble with it. I don't know if any of you out there do. And I don't know if it's not wanting to appear weak to my friends and family, or a pride thing, or just an independence thing where I want to be able to do stuff myself. But it's important to know that sometimes you probably need a little bit of help. So today, to get this stuff on with just the one hand, I'm actually asking my camera person to give me a hand getting this stuff on. So we're going to come back at you in just a couple of minutes once she helps me get ready to start the project here. So we'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Alright everybody, I have my safety equipment on now. It's important to check and make sure you have a good seal around the gas mask, just to make sure you don't get any fumes in there. And the next thing you want to do in any painting project is you want to try it out on like a little out of the way corner, just to put a little teeny bit on, and make sure that it's the color that you want and that it's not going to damage the project at all. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit on this back corner here and see how it looks. And it looks like it's going on pretty good. I like the color. So I think I'm going to go ahead and start painting. And there's some really important motions that you need to do when you're applying any kind of spray paint. You'll notice that my arm is going back and forth in nice fluid strokes, and that makes sure that the paint goes on nice and evenly, which is important because then it won't look blotchy or anything like that. The next thing you might want to know about using spray paint, or really any kind of paint or stain, is a lot of times it takes more than one coat to get the desired effect. So, you know, we're going to go ahead and put a few coats on here, and through the magic of editing, we're going to go ahead and watch me put a little bit more paint on here just to demonstrate the technique a little bit more. And then we're going to go ahead and skip to the end of the project. Alright, here we are putting our last coat on, and the can is empty. Woo! Oh. 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 Oh, it's good to be out from underneath that safety equipment. It is totally necessary, but boy, you get a little hot underneath there. Anyway, it took 9 coats of paint and all 3 cans of the paint that I got And the result isn't quite what I expected. I expected it to end up a uniform brown, and it actually didn't. It just turned it a darker form of the upholstery that it already was. So it's actually going to match the motorhome even better than I was hoping for. And here, let me stand this up so you can take a peek. As you can see, from where I'm looking anyway, I don't see any more stain on this cushion. So I would have to call this project a success. And again, it's one that a person can do with only one arm working. And go away, B. And I would call that paint a good product. Anyway, so that's the project done. I guess that's pretty much all we wanted to talk about in this episode. I wanted to ask you, the next episode that I do, please tune in for it, because there's going to be a huge announcement concerning this RV channel. And also the next episode is going to be about ladder safety, and also bringing materials up on top of your camper, well, having some physical limitations in your upper body, or even in your lower body. Ladder safety is very important. So that's what we're going to be doing next time, so please tune in for that. And if you like this RV video, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up. You could even go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you'd like. Feel free to tell your friends about my videos if you think they might benefit or if they might enjoy them. Go ahead and let them know about it. And I guess that's about it. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.